So how will you go about introducing oils to your class? So first of all, a few caveats. I would be careful around the language that you use. This is because when you, and I hope you will, start looking into and learning about the incredible magic, the magic healing properties that the oils have, but then it's very important for us not to get too carried away with that. For example, they're very strongly antiviral. A lot of the essential oils are very strongly antiviral, but you just have to be very careful about saying that, because while it may be true, people are very sensitive to making great claims. So the beautiful thing is you don't have to make any great claims. You just don't. It's just not necessary. The oils make people feel much better immediately, and that's enough. That they may do a lot more doesn't have to be our concern. Let the oils. There's a beautiful part of the oils. It's called the wisdom of the oils, and it's pretty. I still find it pretty mind blowing. When you put an oil on, say for example, sweet marjoram is very good for the any muscular aches and pains. It's also very good for the lungs. If you put on sweet marjoram and I put on sweet marjoram, it will go to different parts of our respective bodies. So it'll go into both of our bodies, and they found that there is greater concentrations of sweet marjoram in, for example, the musculature. Say if you've got aches and pains in your legs, there will be more sweet marjoram there, a greater concentration of sweet marjoram there. And if I say I had a lung issue, there would be a higher concentration of sweet marjoram in my lungs. The oils have an intelligence to go to the part of the body where they're needed, which is just amazing. Western medicine, I don't think can do that. It's called the wisdom of the oils. And, to me, I find it quite mind boggling. But then at the same time, we allow that in nature. There's a certain thing called symbiosis, that certain elements of nature get on well and complement each other. And I think what we've really forgotten is that we are also an element of nature, because we have this beautiful symbiosis, this beautiful, connection, and that herbs can relate with us, each of us as individuals, because we're all beautiful elements of nature made up of beautiful, complex chemicals, the exact same complex chemicals that make up the oils. So we have this beautiful symbiotic relationship. So just know and trust that the oils will do whatever is the wisest thing for them to do. They've got this. So you don't need to, no, you do need to know some things, but I'm going to teach you in this session enough to keep you safe. And you don't need to know more. Have faith in the oils, that they have that wisdom. So caveats. First one, be careful around language and don't make any great claims, because it's just not needed. Second, be really careful around, I really recommend not using neat essential oils. I really hardly ever use them. I never ever would use them directly on the skin. I don't think anybody should, unless they're a qualified aromatherapist. And it's not to do with purity. It's nothing to do with purity. It's to do with strength. They are so strong. The oils are pure plant prana. I think that's a beautiful way to perceive them. It's pure vital life source of the plant. They're very strong. So that is why we don't use them neat on the skin. Nothing to do with purity. It's to do with strength. Okay, so I recommend never using neat on the skin yourself, and certainly never for your students. And I'm not really into using them in diffusers, simply in a home setting for sure, but in a class, no, because it's a very personal smell. It's so personal. So if there's a diffuser, then everybody gets the same smell, and it might be that somebody doesn't like even lavender. Some people hate lavender. So diffusers, I don't recommend. Plus, it means everybody gets it, and you don't know if somebody in the class may or may not be pregnant. Pregnancy is something you've really got to be careful with. The oils are very strong. A lot of them are wonderfully hormonally balancing, but in pregnancy, we don't want anything that's hormonally balancing. So that's the next one. Pregnancy, never use oils, never ever neat, but even blends. It's just better just not to use in pregnancy at all. If you're a qualified aromatherapist, on yourself, yes, but in pregnancy, I would just never recommend to use on a student that's pregnant. none of my oils I recommend during pregnancy. And also, you'd want to be a qualified aromatherapist to make up even your own blends for anybody in pregnancy. What other conditions? You'd want to you just want to know if somebody has high blood pressure. You wouldn't want to use anything too stimulating. So my oils, the more stimulating ones are Detox and Salute. They're the kind of uppy ones. So if somebody had high blood pressure, I wouldn't use those. What else? Also, if somebody had a very overactive organs, if their organs of detoxification were already overactive, then I wouldn't use Detox on them, because Detox will stimulate the organs of detoxification. So if they're already overstimulated, you don't want to stimulate them more. So more caveats. Never neat. I prefer not diffusers. Always ask. That's a basic, to always ask. Never put any oils on anyone without asking. A beautiful way to do it is that if they're lying in Shavasana, when it's a little bit harder to ask, because you are trying to get them down into final relaxation. So just say to them to put their hands down if they don't want the oils, and up if they do, or to put the hands on the tummy if they don't want the oils. Some signal to you that they don't want the oils. You'll find that pretty much everybody wants the oils, because a lot of people in the yoga class will have more vata, which is into Ayurveda. I'm not going to get into Ayurveda in this mini course, but a lot of them love and need oils. So you'll find that most of them do, but always ask. And even just all around touching, that's another huge area. So just, go with your gut, but just be over cautious is the best thing. So they are the caveats. I think that's pretty much it. As long as you're not using neat, you should be fairly safe, and you don't need any medical training as long as you're not using them neat. So for caveats, that more or less covers it, I would say. Yeah, there's nothing else that I would really think of that you have to be careful of. But if you have any queries at all, just message us in the Facebook group. We've got a beautiful Facebook group called Aromatherapy for Yoga, which you should be receiving a link to. Please come on in there. And any questions or thoughts that you have, just shoot them in there and we'll answer. So they're the caveats. Now, how you would go about really getting into the class. So how to begin, the first way is to inform your own practice. That's really the only way. And my hope is that by deeply informing your own practice with the use of beautiful aromatherapy oils, that you'll be self-guided largely, because you'll get a sense, there's no one right way to do it. The one right way to do it is to go with your own gut, to go into meditation with the oils, to let the oils inform your own meditative and yogic practice, and move from that space. That is the safest space, because you'll be moving with your own intelligence and the intelligence of the oils, and the combination of both will be incredibly synergistic for you. It's like a teacher's aid. It's like they inform your practice, and they inform what is the right thing to do in this space, which is really, really beautiful. So for example, there's little basic rules of thumb, that the more grounding oils are the roots and the trees. So, what plants do in nature, they do in your nature, because you are nature. I love saying that. So the roots are grounding. The trees are fortifying, can be grounding as well and fortifying. And then the flowers can be quite heady, and the citruses are kind of sunny. So, what the herbs do, you see, you knew that already, because you've got this beautiful intelligence already. And when you just tap into it, that intelligence opens up and you feel it even more. So the trees are beautifully fortifying, the roots are beautifully grounding. So that's just as a rule of thumb, but you'll experience that yourself. So I find the trees very, very useful in teaching. There's trees in all of my oils. Cedar wood is in almost all of my oils. A lot of the reason why I forged forward with yogandha was that when I was blending, I was, sitting cross-legged in my room, blending on the intentions of my yoga students, and I just smelt sandalwood and cedarwood, smelt cedarwood. And as I smelt it, my tail dropped, my crown lifted, my spine lengthened, and I kind of thought, whoa, I felt more than thought, whoa. I spent all of my days trying to teach people how to do that, how to lengthen their spine. And I just smelt this beautiful, beautiful tree, and it informed me how to hold my spine. Without words, it just informed me. And, that was absolutely beautiful. So it was just that I was stepping into that intelligence. The trees are beautifully communicative, and we know this, that trees are beautifully communicative. They communicate chemically in the air, and they communicate beneath the roots. They are communicative entities, and if we open ourselves up to being recipients of that communication, we will receive it. And it's not all hippy dippy. It is actually, there are chemicals at play, so you can feel it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I hope that you feel that yourself, that you will use the oils, be it a single oil or be it my blends, and you'll feel how they inform your practice. And that's how you introduce it into your class, that you feel what they do to your body, how that resonates on a yogic level, and then you'll communicate that in your own way. So that is really how to use them. So they're the caveats. That's how you would use in your practice. Other nice things to use are sankalpa, which is intention. So if you start a class with an intention, and then you can feel into which oil better resonates with that intention. You're probably aware of the creation of my oils, that they were formed through intention. So that I spent 3 years sitting, meditating, and blending on the intentions of my yoga students to create them. So they are born of intentionality. So that's a really beautiful way to use them. But you can bring out your own intention with your own oils and use them in that way. The oils will pretty much carry you towards that intention. They'll deepen your connection with the intention, sankalpa. So that's another beautiful way to use them. Also with mantra, each of my oils has a mantra on the back. We'll go through the oils in the next video so you can get a sense of how to use them in a themed way. But mantra is another beautiful way. And one beautiful, beautiful way is when you're teaching a class and you're not, you don't have a sense of what you might want to use. Slip into meditation, just a mindful state. And then what we do often as aromatherapists is just let our hand move. It sounds really weird, but you just let your hand move and just reach, so that you're not asking your brain, and you're not, you're just trusting in the body to move towards what is needed. And then you get into this whole beautiful serendipity thing of sometimes, I can only find one oil, and then, which is insane because I've got oils everywhere. But I'm like, I can only find one oil. Or I find, say, ground repeatedly, and I'm looking for balance, or I'm looking for salute, but I keep finding ground, and then the penny drops, like, okay, that's what's needed. Or I'll go to a class and I'll only have one oil. Where the rest of the oil? And just trusting that's what's needed. So again, it sounds a little bit hippy dippy, but I've had amazing experiences where after the class, people come up to me and say a few things that just make me know, yeah, that was what was needed. So you'll have this experience too. It's very beautiful, humbling, but also beautiful, because you really do feel like you're part of a beautiful intelligence, that you're on that beautiful intelligence journey. And it's humbling, but also empowering at the same time. So that is how you would introduce them to your own class. I would love to know how you get on. So please do jump into that Facebook group and just let us know. What is your experience? Any questions, any fears, please. But also just your experience and any little realizations, any little ahas. That's really why I started the Facebook group, because it's a total journey. And if somebody else can have some kind of experience and share that, and you can resonate with it, chakras, I'll go into them in the next video as well. But how you experience the oils with the different chakras, that's another beautiful thing, and to be able to share that. So the Facebook group is a forum for sharing that. So if you feel you're ready, I would love you to start. Trust in yourself, trust in your gut, trust in the oils, and just move forward and see how it goes. And please let us know how it goes in the Facebook group. The final video in this little mini course is using as part of theming workshops around gandha. So that's the next one. But for now, if you're ready, if you're teaching tonight or anytime soon, and even online, I did say also that they're perfect for online. In the room, you can get a beautiful sense of what people need. But this intelligence is so universal and is so real that even if the people are on the other side of a laptop, you'll still get a sense, just trust in the oils for what's needed. It's hard to teach when you don't see. You may or may not see the people, but it could be that you're just teaching into a video and you don't see who's on the other side. That can be quite challenging because you lose that intelligence of seeing their bodies and how their bodies are moving. But if you just trust in the intelligence of the oils, they will guide you. Just feel into what's needed with this group that I can't see or feel. Breathe the oils, feel into your own sense of your own inner intelligence of what's needed, and teach the class, and then connect with them and see how they got on. Ideally, they'd all have the oils as well. That's the ideal. But, you can, if you're communicating the oils, if you're communicating through the oils and they're enhancing your communication, then they'll feel them. So good luck. Please let me know how you get on. Namaste.